Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Adam Kane. I'm the director of the Fairbanks Museum and Planetarium. I am beyond thrilled to see all these faces here in front of me. Now, in a little bit, we're going to tour the Science Annex. You might notice that there are a few things that are undone. We have been very busy here at the Fairbanks Museum chasing burglars over the last couple of days, so it did detract us from our timeline a little bit. So as I look out at this crowd, I think about Franklin Fairbanks, the founder of the Fairbanks Museum. He just walked past his somber-looking bust on the way in, and I think he would not be looking somber now. He would have a big smile on his face. So in 1890, Franklin Fairbanks laid the cornerstone of the Fairbanks Museum, and I just want to read to you what he said at that time. So he said, "This building," and he was directing this to a group of children, "this building is erected for you. It is not for the older ones, for we shall soon pass away, and you will take our places. I want you to understand that from this time on, this building is to be yours, and that you are to carefully guard its interest." Of course, those children did just that. They cared for it, guarded it, and most importantly, they shared it. And so it has gone through the generations of guarding it and sharing it. And so we're now generations removed from those children that were here when the cornerstone was laid. But it is clear that we have collectively taken a great interest in this building, and that manifests itself today in the Tang Science Annex, which will be a gift for generations to come. Now, I cannot begin to thank everyone and every organization that has helped the Fairbanks Museum along the way. I encourage you, as you're touring the building, to look at the donor wall that's inside. It is but a partial list of all of the many, many hundreds of folks and organizations that have gotten us here. But I would like to thank and to point out a few key supporters. First of all, Oscar Tang, who is with us today, who I have to say took a big leap for us, sitting in your office all those years ago, and who decided that this was a place where it made sense to invest for the community. So thank you, Oscar. Senator Welch, our knight in shining armor, as we were buffeted by COVID issues and construction inflation. You were our knight in shining armor. We could not have done it without your and your staff's support. Sarah Waring and her team at USDA, and it is a team that has put in a tremendous amount of time and support into the Fairbanks Museum. I cannot thank you enough. You guys are amazing. The Northern Borders Regional Commission, Chris Saunders is here. Northern Borders was one of our first grantors into this project because they wanted to see a mass timber building, and I'm very pleased that we've made it happen for you guys. Back in the early days of the pandemic, when I was 100% sure that this project was going to just dissolve into dust, I sent a lifeline to the Community College of Vermont to see how they were doing and if they might be interested in partnering with us in this project. And the answer from Gretchen DeHart was an immediate yes. So to have the continued support of CCV has stuck with us for years. We're just thrilled to have CCV as a partner in this. And for me personally, my wife, Andrea, who has been a Science Annex widow for many, many years now, and earlier this week sent me an email saying, by the way, this week Valentine's Day is not recognized on Wednesday. It is recognized on Sunday, knowing that I would be working very, very long hours. Thank you. To the Fairbanks Museum's board and staff, you are amazing. I mean, I'm the one that gets to stand before you, but I have a team of unbelievable people behind me, and I couldn't do it without them. They're just the best group of people to work with, so thank you. And lastly, to the wider community, St. Johnsbury and beyond, we thrive as a community organization with the support of all of our visitors and donors, members, supporters. We just couldn't do any of this without that wellspring of support. So thank you so much to that large group of people. So now we're going to hear from our speakers. After we're done hearing from them, we're going to cut the ribbon and then we're going to tour the Science Annex. So next, I'd like to introduce Senator Peter Welch.
Thank you. It is good to be back at the scientific center of the universe, the Fairbanks Museum. And you know, I mean that actually. It's the center of the universe right here in St. Johnsbury, in Caledonia County, revered in the state of Vermont. And through thick and thin, starting with when it was founded, the cornerstone was laid, through difficult times, prosperous times, difficult times, the commitment to science, the commitment to learning, the commitment to having our young people get involved and have an opportunity to explore the wider world, that has been the center right here at the Fairbanks Museum. And it's why we just got to keep going. And what a day where we're going to be cutting the ribbon on an expansion that renews our commitment, much like that commitment that was made when the cornerstone was laid. But the other thing that's so tremendous about this, and really about St. Johnsbury and about Vermont, it takes cooperation to get this done. Think of all the different people and organizations that were involved in making this day come. Because getting from conception to actual ribbon cutting is hard. And you've got the museum, you've got the community leaders, you've got a man we're going to hear from who had 2 glorious years as a 7th and 8th grader when he had to flee China and was warmly welcomed with his sister, who went to the St. Johnsbury Academy into the bosom of St. Johnsbury, and who never forgot what St. Johnsbury gave him. So, Mr. Tang, thank you so much for remembering and being the person that you are. And then, you know, it's your government. Yeah, thank you. And then, you know, a lot of criticism of government, but not the United States Department of Agriculture. And we've got the undersecretary here, all the way from that place down south called Washington, D.C. But I'm so proud of Farah. It's so good to have you here, and we so appreciate the commitment you have to rural America. And you've got a person here, Sarah Waring, that is just everywhere doing good things to revive and help us in rural America. And of course, the local folks you're going to hear from the former staffer for a man, what was his name? Patrick Leahy? Who did so much for St. Johnsbury and for the state of Vermont. So what's the thrill for me is to know that the work continues, that the commitment to kids in learning continues, that the commitment to science, in facts, in exploration, in inquiry, that continues. And with what is going on in our world and the divisions that are pulling us apart, with the anger that's out there, to have this true north commitment to learning, to inquiry, and then making this happen to cooperation as opposed to conflict. That's pretty inspiring. And it's what we do in Vermont. And you know, my view is that what we do in Vermont, we need more of it around the country. So thank you, Fairbanks Museum, for pushing ahead. Thank you, everybody, private sector, philanthropists, governmental institutions, for coming together for this glorious day where we are going to cut the ribbon and continue the work of when that cornerstone was laid in 1890. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Welch. Next, we're going to hear from Farah Ahmad, the Deputy Undersecretary of USDA Rural Development.
Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to be here. I bring greetings on behalf of Secretary Vilsack. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you to Adam Kane for his leadership. Thank you to Senator Welch for believing in this project, Oscar Tang, the Northern Borders Regional Commission, Chris Saunders. This truly is an amazing partnership. And I've only had a few minutes to look around at the museum, and I look forward to the tour after. But I gotta say, we should send some of the folks from those little old museums in DC, the Smithsonian's, you may know about them, because this place is incredible. When I look around, I see so much of what is important in education, and that's curiosity. How do we spark curiosity? Curiosity about the past, the present, and the future. And I particularly love that we get to be a part of the amazing history and story of this museum. So I actually grew up in the Midwest, in Iowa, and my father and mother are educators, and my dad actually teaches astronomy. And so I grew up with this amazing benefit of being able to look up at the stars and look up through telescopes. I didn't have a planetarium like they do here, and I think it's so amazing because when my dad would wake me up at 3 in the morning, you know, I'd be 9 years old, I'd be sleeping, it'd be a cold winter morning, and he'd say, "Wake up, Farah, you'll never see Neptune ever again like we'll see it tonight." And so we'd go outside and I'd be bundled up and it'd be, you know, it's Iowa, so it'd be, you know, negative 10 degrees. And I'd peer through a telescope and look out at the stars. And it's moments like that that teach you the art of imagining what's possible. And that's what I see around the room here today and in this museum, is sparking that curiosity, sparking that joy of learning. And this institution is one that's not just about learning, but it's about gathering and it's about community. And so on behalf of the Biden administration, we're so excited to be a part of some of the investments to make sure that this place lives on into the future. But it's one piece of the amazing story of this area. In fact, I've been to Vermont before, but it's been a while. And my first trip here, I spent some time on vacation with my husband and young daughter at the time, and we visited many of the small towns and villages here, and they seemed really special. There was something about the community and the passion and dedication to livability here. And then I realized on this trip that Vermont really is special. There's 277 cities, towns, and villages. And it's one of the most rural states in the country. And it makes it really special in many ways. And in this area in particular, there's this amazing thing that I know many of you have heard of, which is called the REAP Zone. And the REAP Zone to us at USDA Rural Development really represents a philosophy that the Biden administration believes in, which is we need to do our work to help support and build rural prosperity in a place-based way. Knowing that every community is different, every region is different, the assets, the vision, the dreams are different, and it's our job as the federal government to be a partner, to listen to that vision, and to figure out how our federal resources can make that specific vision come to life. And I was speaking to some of the leaders in the room today, and someone told me that in a lot of ways, the Fairbanks Museum kind of represents a bridge from the past to the future. And it really is a bridge because when you look at a town like St. J, you really see what it looks like to have sustained federal investment in a rural community and what a thriving community, a prosperous rural community can look like. Too often I'm in rooms where I have to convince people that it matters to invest in rural places. And so it's so nice to be in a place like this where I don't have to do that convincing because you can see it here. You can see what it looks like to invest in rural communities and see them thrive. And it really is a magical place, just kind of visiting a little bit of it today. And it's not just magical because it's called the Northeast Kingdom. I really do think it's an amazing place because of the partners that have come together here. And the other thing that I think makes this project really special for us at USDA Rural Development is because of the investment we're making in using mass timber in the annex here. So that's a little bit new for us at USDA Rural Development. In fact, this is the first project we've ever done for a community facility that's predominantly done with mass timber. So I want to say, like, innovation is starting here. And this town and this community is helping be a model for other rural communities and other places about how you can invest in local assets, you can help support the forest economy as you expand and rebuild and invest in anchor institutions like this one here today. And a couple of things I've learned about mass timber and the potential here is that it's not only about using the amazing forest economy here and generating revenue that can be reinvested into these communities, but it has these other amazing impacts. It can reduce our carbon emissions. It can increase construction times. Let's be honest, every construction project has its delays, so if you can speed it up by 25%, you are winning on all fronts. It's another benefit of mass timber. And there's 90% less construction traffic because of mass timber. And honestly, it does something really beautiful, which is it maintains forests as forests instead of converting it to other uses. And that's what I think is really special about this project for us, is it lets us as government actually invest in innovation. The government's not always known for being nimble and for being the most creative, but this is an opportunity for us to lean into that and to lean into creative, community-driven solutions that are coming out of local expertise and local partnerships like right here. So I just want to say thank you again for letting us be a small part of this story. We're super excited about this investment from USDA Rural Development. And on behalf of the Biden administration, I want to thank you again for the partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Chris Saunders, who is the federal co-chair of the Northern Borders Regional Commission.
Thanks, Adam. The Commission is thrilled to be part of this celebration today. It's really a remarkable day. I also bring greetings on behalf of the Biden administration. Again, my name is Chris Saunders. I'm really proud to serve as the federal co-chair of the Commission. We're an entity that's focused, a federal agency that's focused on rural economic development. And as you heard Senator Welch discuss and heard Farah talk about, we really believe in vitality of rural communities being essential to why people want to live here. And we see the Fairbanks, for all the reasons that have been mentioned, as a really worthy place to invest public funds. But the headline for us, as Adam noted when he did some initial introductions, for us is that mass timber component. The commission, when it was created by Congress just a few years ago, our initial territory stretched from northern Maine across northern New Hampshire and Vermont to the western side of the Adirondack Park. And that's a region that is a distinct kind of ecological zone that's known as the northern forest. There's not a lot of great ways to travel east-west across our region, so folks sometimes just relate to the forest as it is in their backyard or in their community, but it's this distinct zone that's the largest forest east of the Mississippi River. And It really has defined the economy of many of the rural places in our region and been a cornerstone of the economy for many of these places. It's hit some bumps in the last couple decades. And so as an entity that's focused on economic development in these rural places, we're really interested in the types of products and where things are headed in the forest economy. So mass timber is really important to us. Other parts of the country, other countries themselves, are investing heavily in this industry and have made great leaps to demonstrate the feasibility of using mass timber. But our region is a little bit behind, and we have lacked until now a place in Vermont that's been able to demonstrate what it's like to build mass timber with species that come from our forest. And so this is really exciting for us to be able to have a place where communities and policymakers, folks that work in the construction trades can come and understand, as has been mentioned, both the ecological and the environmental, as well as the economic benefits of utilizing mass timber. This is really going to be a focal point for our commission in the coming years. We're going to put a lot of dollars, resources, and time behind helping our region decide whether this should be a priority. We think it should be, but we're kind of at an inflection point in this region whether we want to prioritize this and kind of move, or whether we're going to cede this type of market to other places around the country. We think it really holds great benefit. So we applaud the vision of the Fairbanks. We are, and Adam and the board, in terms of prioritizing this material, all the partners and the community folks like Woodworks that have worked and helped figure out how to use this material in this building, the other benefactors like the Tang family, Senator Welch, who have seen this vision and decided that worthy of kind of this public-private partnership to make these spaces possible. And Adam, I know you've got a busy job running a museum. Many of us saw the school kids walking through earlier, but I know you're going to have your hands full with folks from the region who want to come here to not just be inspired by the great collections and education that you have, but the fact that you are innovating with building materials and are really kind of laying a marker for what economic development in the region can be. So thank you and congratulations.
Well, I hear the phone ringing in the background. I would say there is a 90% chance that is someone calling to want to know something about the April 8th total solar eclipse. We get about 40 of those calls a day. So next, we're going to hear from Joyce Judy, who is the president of the Community College of Vermont.
Thank you so much, Adam. And I have to say, on behalf of the Community College of Vermont, we are thrilled that Adam did make that call a few years ago, and we are incredibly grateful to Adam and to the Fairbanks Museum and to the board for inviting us to co-locate and be part of this exciting expansion. As you know, CCV has been a fixture in St. Johnsbury since 1981, and we serve about 200 students here in the location. But for people who aren't familiar with CCV, we have 12 locations throughout the state of Vermont. Vermont is unique in that we have only one community college, but we have 12 different locations. And our locations really mirror and try to reflect what's happening in a local community. Our student body, we serve about 10,000 students in a year, and our student body is incredibly diverse. So we have a number of high school students who are trying out college while they're still in high school. We have a lot of working parents. We have a lot of people who, some have been injured on the job and have decided they need to pivot and invest in a new career. We serve a lot of students who are active in the military. We also serve a lot of what they call military-connected students, both spouses and family members and veterans who have been involved in the military. And we also serve a lot of new Americans, people who are getting a start in this country, and we are incredibly proud of that rich diversity in our classroom. So if you ever have a chance to visit a CCV class, because there will be a number of classes here in the Fairbanks, that you'll see that diversity and what is the richness that they get when they're attending CCV. And more than half of our students are the first in their families to go to college. which is something that we are incredibly proud of. But I want to be really clear, we don't do this work alone. We have, in our local communities, we partner with many, many different entities in the community so that we can make sure students have access, but also it's important for us to partner with businesses to make sure that they have the workforce that they need. And a good example of this work, our current work here in St. Johnsbury, is a relationship we have with the St. Johnsbury Academy, the Northeast Vermont Regional Hospital, Northern Borders, VSAC, the Vermont Department of Labor, and many others to build a nursing pipeline and to help people who want to enter healthcare, the healthcare field, and perhaps in non-traditional ways can do that. And that's just one small example of how we try to be part of helping a community invest and grow in ways that they need to. We are also incredibly pleased to partner with the Fairbanks Museum as they transition to this new space and we transition to this new space. This move brings students, faculty, and staff into the heart of the museum and also represents the shared commitment of CCV and the Fairbanks Museum to access to education. This is an important part of our mission and an important part of the museum's mission. This new location offers our staff and faculty and students so many wonderful opportunities because we're in a brand new learning space. It's it's state of the art, and yet it's in a historic building. So what better marriage than something new and something old and bringing it together? I want to share we had our first class here a week or so ago, and it's called Introduction to College and Careers. And this just gives you a sample of how CCV provides opportunity for students in a local community and brings them together. So one student in this class is a student who has started at CCV and took a little time off and is back now exploring a career in the graphic design field. His mom happened to bring him to class that night. Our faculty member said, why don't you stay and you can, because she needed to drop him off. And at the end of the class, she shared that she had always wanted to continue her education. Her brother had gone to college, gotten a degree, was a college graduate, and that's something she always aspired to do. And needless to say, she is now enrolled in that class and has plans to enroll at CCV and pursue a certificate. So it's those kind of things that make it really magical when you create opportunity for people to sample that. So we are settling in. You'll see, you're not going to have a chance to tour our space because we are still very much settling in. But I want to close by giving a huge shout out to the team of staff here at CCV who have made this possible, because a couple days ago I thought it was pretty impossible to have this open house. I had pictures of both this museum. Congratulations to you, Adam. I'm sure many people pulled an all-nighter to make this happen. But the shout out I want to give to the CCV staff, Gretchen, Artie, Tina, Connor, Ashley. You have done an amazing amount of work getting us from where we were, and we only moved. For many of you, you can, if you go out this building and look down the street, you will see our old location. But moving from there to here took Herculean efforts, and I am grateful to our staff. So, thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Mr. Oscar Tang.
Thank you, Adam. And Adam, thank you for that quote from Mr. Fairbanks. I'm sure Mr. Fairbanks didn't have somebody like me in mind, but as a child, I was a beneficiary of his vision, very much so. And I want to also thank all the USDA, all the other government and community organizations for this fantastic support to make this happen, and especially Senator, thank you for coming along as the white knight to make, push us over the line.
I was just amazed when that happened. Thank you very much. Good morning. My wife, Agnes, and I are pleased to be a part of the celebration of the expansion and modernization of this museum and its educational mission. My connection to the Fairbanks Museum in St. Johnsbury goes back almost 75 years. In 1949, the Chinese Communist Party won the Civil War and took control of China, and my parents fled to Hong Kong, where they sought to rebuild their lives. Uncertain of Hong Kong's future, they decided to place my sister Nancy and me in school in America earlier than planned to remove us from possible harm's way. So in September 1949, Nancy was enrolled as a 9th grade student, boarding student at St. Johnsbury Academy. While I was only 11 and too young to attend the academy, arrangements were made for me to live in the boys' dormitory at the time, Fairbanks Cottage, down on Main Street, and attend the St. Johnsbury Junior High School. So the town educated me in 7th and 8th grade. The high school was just down the street from St. Johnsbury Academy. Neither my sister nor I spoke any English. People always opine how difficult those times must have been for me. In fact, except for brief bouts of homesickness, I have nothing but wonderful memories of my 2 years in St. Johnsbury, the first in my adopted country. First, I think, and very importantly, we must keep in mind of these refugees that we see now all over the world. First of importance was the realization that here I had a safe refuge from all the turmoil and conflict of a country in civil war. My sister and I, likely the first Asians many townspeople had ever seen, were curiosities. Our arrival was written up in the New Caledonian newspaper. The people were kind, and my classmates invited me into their homes. At my age, I learned English quickly, and with the $5 purchase of a used bicycle, I could wander all over town and the surrounding countryside. One of my frequent haunts was the Fairbanks Museum, where I was fascinated by the exhibits and dioramas of natural scenes and animals. One of you today asked me if I knew the director at the time. I knew no such director. I was an 11-year-old kid that just wandered in here. I remember riding my bicycle over, just dumping it on the steps and coming in here, many times. In retrospect, St. Johnsbury, 75 years ago, was a quintessential prosperous American town in a beautiful New England setting. The Fairbanks Company provided employment, and its founding family endowed the town with an abundance of civic institutions. St. Johnsbury Academy, an Athenaeum across the street with an art gallery, with, by the way, the largest Bierstadt painting that I've ever seen to this day. North and South churches, and the Fairbanks Museum of Natural History. It was like a perfect scene from a Norman Rockwell painting. In contrast, when I returned about 12 years ago, I was sad to find a very different town, one that had lost its employment base and suffered from some of the same rural poverty afflictions, including drug abuse, which had overtaken large parts of America, and which was preventing St. Johnsbury from moving on to a natural transition to a gentrification and tourist economy. Recently, I was happy to learn that the major joint effort by the Vermont Housing Authority and the Academy to reinvest in what is now called the New Avenue Project is helping to bring new life back to the center of town. And today, I'm happy to see the fruition of the joint venture of government and private philanthropy in reinvesting in what has been a leading civic institution in this region for over 130 years, to advance its service to natural science education into the 21st century. This is new evidence that St. Johnsbury is on the rise again, and my wife, Agnes, and I could not be more pleased to be a part of it. Thank you.
Mr. Tang, on behalf of the Fairbanks Museum and indeed the community, thank you. We are indebted to you. Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from the Fairbanks Museum's board chair, Paige Crosby, who is also my great confidant and very close friend.
This is quite overwhelming. Mr. Tang, your story, I'm quite moved. Thank you. It is with great joy and gratitude that I stand here today as we open the Tang Science Annex. This space will continue to serve and educate the people of the kingdom and its visitors, and the experience here will enhance the lives of those who live here and encourage others to visit. It is a place to create and to learn and to wonder and to explore. There are so many to thank for their energy, their resources, and their belief in this edition. Senator Welch, we could never have done this without you. Chris Saunders, the Northern Borders. I'm so excited about mass timber. I'm going to build a new house. Farah Ahmad, Sarah Waring of the USDA. Farah, for you in a week, you knew what this place is about. You knew this community in a quick moment. And I don't know if that's about you or about us, but thank you. I want to thank Vermont Integrated Architecture for their patience, their diligence, their detail, and their energy. And I want to welcome the Community College of Vermont. The collaboration that we will create here is exciting. We're going to be teaching toddlers to adults. And I want to thank Oscar and Agnes Tang for their generosity and their belief. We are especially grateful that you made this journey to St. Johnsbury to be with us today. And like many buildings throughout this country, this bears your name. You have shared your energy and your gifts with organizations throughout the world. Your passion for landmark preservation, the arts, education, and providing access for those in need is legendary. This building is about education and about access for all. This institution is about educating all who enter its doors and the wonders, challenges, and the discovery of the natural world. This community touched your heart many, many years ago, and your whole family. And you have continued to repay St. Johnsbury for its kindness and hospitality and been a leading supporter of its institutions. We are deeply appreciative of the love and respect you showed this tiny region of the country. We promise that your gift will be fostered and shared with all who enter. Of all your gifts, perhaps this is the one that will be the most treasured, for it will influence the hearts and minds of thousands of school children who come here and learn and touch and play and understand. It's what this museum does. I am deeply, deeply grateful to the generosity of this community, people who believe in the work of the museum, for their continued support, energy, and commitment. And I am deeply grateful to a committed, curious, and generous board of directors who tirelessly guide and support this organization. And I am incredibly grateful to my dear friend, the Executive Director, Adam Kane, and his people. The commitment and time and dedication to this project is truly immeasurable. You had a vision, and it bloomed with energy and creativity of your team. Adam, the hours, the gray hairs, the sleepless nights, and the continual thoughts about this project are worth it. We are here. We are here. Your incredible team of educators, scientists, administration, and staff now have a fresh canvas to work their magic. The opportunities for them to teach and create and grow as professionals is enhanced by this space, and they will continue to do wonders. Thank you for all who made this day and this dream come true. Thank you.
Thank you, Paige. So we are now going to cut the ribbon, so if I can have the group make a left at the muskox. I'm going to arrive over there. So now, I am thrilled to invite you all into the Tang Science Annex. Now, it is not that big of a building, and this is a lot of people, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take the speakers and